Hey everyone, it's Ellis, and this is the patch 12.3 notes rundown, and we are just going to get right into it. This is the last patch notes rundown before I am in North America, as I'm recording this actually right before I leave for the plane. So obviously I will be there starting next week for all the C9 stuff, but the patch rundowns are going to continue, as are the patron solo queue and clash tier lists, so you can still expect to see them there. Once again, this video, if you guys haven't already seen it in the last video, do recommend that for patch changes and other stuff that you want to check out, download the Mobalytics app. There's going to be a lot of stuff that does get added into the app that I've been wanting to see in other apps that are similar to this for League of Legends stuff. And if you guys are wanting to track the results of some of the patch changes and all that other stuff, you can definitely do it by downloading it to the desktop app and just using Mobalytics. So anyways, let's get into the patch. Ahri. Champion is refreshed, base stats and all skills are updated. Okay, so Ahri's unique identity as a highly mobile mage assassin has eroded over the years. Instead of being a flightly terror dashing across the teamfight, she's limited to single attempt at an exciting play with her R and then fishing with her E from safety for the rest of the fight. To address this, we're refreshing her passive to offer a partial ultimate reset upon takedowns as well as Ahri. Okay, so let's see how things are going. Health growth is going to go down by 10, so she's losing more than a Ruby Crystal level 18. Health is also going to go, health at level 18 is going to go down. Base health regen is also going down. So Ahri all across the board is just way squishier. Her armor is also going down. She's going to be taking more from, auto attacks and stuff. Now, passive Essence Thief. Pieces of You. Isn't that the name of a name of like a emo song from way back in the day? Killing minions and monsters grants Ahri an Essence Fragment. After obtaining 9 of them, Ahri consumes them to heal for 40 to 120 plus 25%. Okay. Killing minions, so every 9 CS that she takes, she heals for 40 to 120 plus 25% AP. When Ahri scores a takedown against an enemy champion within 3 seconds of damaging them, she feasts upon their soul, or their essence, healing for 80 to 200 plus 35% AP. So she basically gets a souped-up version of Triumph now, where she can just do a lot of stuff with her resets. Q, Orb of Deception, damage per pass, 40 to 140 plus 35% AP, and now the damage is going to go up a little bit, but it's still going to be the same later on. However, the percent AP is now going to be up. Mana cost is also going to go up, but it's going to be less early on, at least at rank 1 and stuff. So okay, I mean that's obviously fine. She's getting a lot of damage, she's getting a lot of value now as well inside of team fights with her new passive, and she's also getting sustained inside a laning phase where every 3 waves she gets 2 passive, is assuming that you're Chovy. So I mean, I think that's pretty fine. W Foxfire, I mean, another way to look at her passive is that she's like getting a potion every minute for free in lane. Almost. Well, not quite. Not early on. Later on, yes, but not early on. I guess she's basically getting, you know what, actually here, everyone's friend and mine, she's getting a biscuit basically every minute that passes, at least for her HP. W Foxfire, damage 40 to 140 plus 30% AP to 60 to 160 plus 30% AP. And so the damage, again, going up on her W. Mana cost 40 to 25. Flame duration 5 seconds to 2.5 seconds. Very good. Bonus move speed duration 1.5 to 2 seconds. Okay. Heat seeking, updated missile targeting, and last hitting logic. So, okay. So she's just getting damage across the board. This is much better. Okay. E, Charm, 60 to 180 plus 40% to 80 to 200 plus 60%. Mana cost 70 to 50. Entranced. Ahri's abilities no longer deal bonus damage to enemies hit by them. Okay, so her skills are not as locked in now to her charm being the combo. So her abilities are just getting more standalone value, and obviously with her passive Essence Thief, this is definitely good. Spirit Rush, initial duration 10 seconds to 15 seconds. New, a Spirited Chase. Consuming a champion's essence while Spirit Rush is active extends Spirit Rush recast duration by and up to 10 seconds and grants an additional cast of Spirit Rush, up to 3 casts stored. Okay. Yeah, so she's just a reset bot. I mean, this is pretty interesting. So Ahri, one of the things before is that Ahri basically had to go Everfrost in order to actually have 4 abilities. I think with the change to her R, the fact that she's not as gated into her E, and now all of the extra damage that she's getting just as standalone abilities that, again, aren't all gated into her E, I think this is really good for Ahri. And, I mean, just the way that I'm thinking about it, she can probably just actually be positioned as a general no-theme type champion in the sense that she's going to probably have build diversity, and she's probably going to be able to go up against a field of different types of team compositions just due to the nature of her kit because of our Spirit Rush. So all in all, I do think this is a very good direction, and it's something that I'm very excited to see. Although, obviously, for people wondering, I have no idea where she's going to end up landing inside of solo queue, just off the top of my head. Okay, Akshan. Passive damage decreased. Akshan's been quite strong everywhere, especially in top lane, so we're hitting his early passive power to make his harass and melee enemy champions a bit less sturdy. So, Akshan is a bit problematic because he's another one of those solo queue exquisite champions that any sort of competitive Akshans are just going to feel bad because he's not going to influence competitive in the same way he's going to influence solo queue. And so any nerfs that come down on him are strictly from solo queue, and there's no way for really competitive to salvage it. So he's just missing a lot of damage, and it does suck, but I think that's just going to be the direction that they go with Akshan. I don't think that Riot wants Akshan to exist in a competitive format, so a little sad. Amumu, base armor decreased, E passive damage reduction, now cap per instance. Amumu has been too strong in average play ever since he got a ton of new items this season. Although flat damage reduction is supposed to shine against champions like Zeri, completely negating certain attacks or abilities is a bit much, especially for an always-on passive, so we're just reducing his E to match similar abilities. Armor growth 3.5 to 3, armor 30 to 89.5 to 30 to 81. Okay. And then E Tantrum, maximum passive damage reduction up to 100% per instance of physical damage, capped at 50% per instance of physical damage. So Amumu's just getting tagged, and it feels really bad because I don't think Amumu's in a very good spot. He had his moment of glory. It reminded me of the Stephen King novel, Carrie, where Amumu got the double bandage toss change, and then everyone was really excited for him for a little while, but then actually he just got instantly smacked, and no one, it just felt really bad. So, okay, we move on. Brand. Quality of life changes on passive and R. We're firing up a couple of quality of life changes to make Brand's passive a little bit more intuitive while also optimizing the bounces on his ult. Blaze it up. Mana refund upon killing an enemy now also occurs if Brand's ability last hits a target that was not already ablaze. Okay, that actually feels really nice. And then Pyroclasm. Fireboy now prioritizes bouncing to nearby enemies before bouncing back to Brand at full range. Pyroclasm will still prioritize bouncing to enemy champions first before minions or monsters, regardless of range. Okay. All right, that's obviously fine. The problem is that Brand, he did just get some love with the Rylai's change last patch, but Brand is still in a pretty awkward spot. You don't want to really take him into the jungle. There's other champions that can do what he does in jungle, unfortunately, ever since the rework to the jungle as well as the items. But support Brand and mid Brand, if you're capable of flexing them, or even ADC Brand, I guess that there's merit there, but that's pretty much it. Caitlyn. 80 growth decrease, Q damage reduce, base stats 3.8 to 3.4 on AD growth, that really hurts. Attack damage 62 to 126.6 to 62 to 119.8. Piltover Peacemaker 60 to 50%. So these changes for Caitlyn are a little bit weird. What this does mean is that she can no longer one-shot the back lane with Q at level 9, which does slow down her wave clear. It slows down her oppressiveness, obviously transitioning out of laning phase, even inside of laning phase a little bit. And this just means that she can't actually inflict as much pain early on. Inside of the game. It's going to be very minor for initial recall, but after the first recall, once item components start coming in and stuff, she is going to feel the pain in those regards, and so it is definitely a hit to Caitlyn, and that does feel really bad. It doesn't seem like she was allowed to exist for too long. Corki, first package delayed and restock cooldown increased. Don't worry, most people can't utilize package well anyway. First package arrives 8 minutes to 10 minutes, package restock every 4 minutes to 5 minutes. This doesn't really change why people should be picking Corki. Corki obviously has his two variations. He has Corki, and then he has Porky. Porky is obviously the variant that makes him very equipped to deal with long-range team compositions, turns him into a poker, gives him a lot of synergy with a wide range of champions inside of the meta right now, and just allows him to be really flexible inside of draft. While his package is really good, it's not entirely the reason that you pick Corki, and so even though it's getting hit, people are still going to play around it, and again, even if they weren't playing around it, most people don't even use package that well anyway. It does suck, but not the end of the world for Corki. LeBlanc. W damage decreased late. LeBlanc has been too strong for lane, especially in pro play where she's been popular even before preseason. We're tapping her down by first max skill to curb her early power burst and wave clear. Distortion 75 to 235 to 75 to 215. So the real things that you're looking at is rank 2 and rank 3. Ultimately, LeBlanc is still going to be looking for lethal on you pre-first recall in roughly the same amount of rotations. Not going to be changed that much. Maybe she needs to weave in one more auto against you, which is definitely going to be a good sign. And you know, after first recall, yes, her lethal ranges are going to be hit a little bit, and this is definitely a nerf to her. Lilia, our sleep duration increased early. We're making Lilia's lullaby last a little longer so she can follow up with her spells and help her teammates more consistently at early levels. Sweet dreams. 1.5 to 2.5 to 2 to 2.5 seconds. This isn't what is gating Lilia. Generally, when she sleeps someone, I don't think the follow-up is almost ever really the issue, because when she tags you from really long range with her E or something, she generally holds the lilting lullaby for a lit that then activates it, and usually at that point there's not a universe other than maybe her throwing an R or something from 4 screens away and it hitting you. Do you ever need the extra half a second at rank 1 in order to do anything? So this just seems like a random placebo buff that'll make Lilia players satisfied, but in reality, I think it doesn't really transform into anything. Nami, passive initial bonus move speed increased and now decays over duration. E on hit base damage reduced. It's high tide for Nami adjustment. Okay. Passive, Surging Tides. Bonus move speed, 45 plus 20% AP for 1.5 seconds to 90 plus 20% AP, decaying over 1.5 seconds. Wow. That's just a lot of extra bonus movement speed. That's actually really high. Tideglor's Blessing, on-hit damage 25 to 85 to 20% to 20 to 80 plus 20%. I mean, I think it's fine. I mean, for the Nami movement speed, the damage missing here, Nami with the extra movement speed, you probably weave in extra damage, so it's not a nerf. I mean, it's almost probably, it's never a nerf. I think it's always just a buff. Like, unless you're running away or something. Well, even then, I mean, you're probably taking less damage. It's definitely very good for Nami. Quinn, Tyler 1. W, passive attack speed bonus increased early. R damage ratio increased. Although Quinn is technically flying fine, her impact has descended a bit across all skill brackets due to various system changes recently. Since she ended up with some headroom, we're taking this opportunity to improve her gameplay satisfaction. Bonus attack to be 20 to 60 to 28 to 60%. Okay, that's pretty good. She's basically almost getting a dagger. R Sky Strike, 30% total AD. That's really big for her assassination. This is really big Quinn buff. These are both really good Quinn buffs. And so I think in like really specific Quinn spots, she could probably be picked. Wow, those are 2 really big buffs. Okay. We move on. Senna, and she wasn't allowed to exist. Passive soul rate drop for Senna farm reduced. The buff to Senna's Q last patch made her support stronger as intended, but also overwhelmingly increased her ADC win rate. Our goal isn't to make AD Senna weak, but instead to bring her 2 roles closer together in strength. Before we go grab a calculator, the sound rounds out to practically 1 soul for every 6 minion waves. That's rough. Absolution. Okay. Minion and lesser monsters that Senna have 10% chance to 2.7% chance to spawn a Mistwraith. That feels really brutal. A lot of Sennas that play her in pro play are not proficient at farming Senna souls like Reckless is, with going around to jungle camps and like utilizing the timings in order to maximize Senna souls. So anything like this does hit Senna harder, but it's kind of hard because we live and operate in a world where people don't actually push Senna to her limits in terms of like soul farming. And so it is kind of interesting to see like how hard would this actually hit a really proficient Senna person versus like everyone who's playing Senna right now. And that's an interesting question. Twisted Fate, Q damage ratio increased, base damage decreased late, E bonus attack speed decreased early. Okay, Twisted Fate seems to always have the right cards in pro play with his global power and consistent CC. We're cutting into his abilities base stats, so he has to buy more AP to dish out big damage instead of opting for his usual utility build. So, I mean, he's still going to opt to utility. Q wildcard, 60 to 240 plus 65 to 60 to 220 plus 70%. So, obviously, yes, they give him back the nuke ability if he commits to AP, but he's never going to commit to AP. Going AP Twisted Fate is just troll. E-stack deck, they also hit 80 Twisted Fate with the E-stack deck, 20 to 40% to 10 to 40%. And so that is also really brutal. Obviously, 80 Twisted Fate will get access to this back, and it'll ultimately end up being the same exact thing later. But, I mean, even 80 Twisted Fate gets hit just because the base damage on Q is also down. So Twisted Fate just getting tagged really hard, and that's that. Zeri, base movement speed reduced, fully charged, basic attack damage decreased, Arcane lightning damage decreased, and can now critically strike. Okay. Zeri's Trinity Force build has ended up being much stronger than expected, skyrocketing her win rate once players swapped over from crit. We're targeting these nerfs to ideally hit her TriForce build more than her crit ones, but some of them overlap. We're compensating the latter with a bit more Zap'em on her ult. Okay, 330 to 325 is her move speed. Full basic attack, full charge damage based on target missing health, 3 to 20 to 3 to 15% based on level. R lightning crash, chain lightning magic damage, 10 to 30 to plus 15 to 10 to 20 plus 15. Chain lightning magic damage now critically strike. So obviously that is beneficial, but you do have to opt into going crit and all that other good stuff. So we'll see how our builds do end up tuning out. Zeri, it still seems like everything's up in the air. It seems like a lot of people seem to think that Zeri is very good. Obviously, there's been a lot of posts on the Cloud9 subreddit. It's no stranger that Berserker is a very, very big fan of Zeri. I think there's other people that are playing Zeri as well, even in other roles, and so Zeri does seem like we'll have to wait and see what ends up happening with her in total. Items. We're making changes to the fighter system to reestablish differences between nimbler, more fragile fighters like Fiora and less agile but beefier picks like Darius. Okay. So let's just jump right into it. Okay. Divine Sunderer. Build path. Sheen, Phage, Kindle Gem, 700 gold, plus Sheen, Warhammer, etc. Health is down by 100 on Sunderer. Attack damage is up by 5. Oh, that's it? Oh, they actually didn't nerf. Oh, okay. They didn't actually end up nerfing the Divine Sunderer passive, or at least that's not what it says in the notes that are in front of my screen. So you guys might have seen the notes that were on Twitter by Riot Flox, I think is his ID. I apologize if I incorrectly pronounced it. And it was stated that Divine Sunderer was going to change from max health to current health for its Sheen proc. But the way that this stands right now, I think this is just outright a buff where some champions actually gain different wave clear by having this extra 5 AD that they weren't able to do before. You guys already know that I've talked about this for like Alawi and other champions that needed certain AD breakpoints in order to successfully CS the wave. So this is very good. I think this is actually a buff to Divine Sunderer on the champions that are actually building Divine Sunderer for, offensive reasons rather than defensive ones. Goredrinker build path is changed. Iron Whip, Phage, Kindle Gem, 300 gold to Iron Spike, Whip, Caulfield's Warhammer, Kindle Gem, 300 gold. Okay. Health, 450 to 300. That is a hit, but attack damage up by 10. That's a huge win. Okay, so build path is better, and now Goredrinker has more damage, which, I mean, depending on, like, what other items you have, I think it can just end up being better, and I think a lot of people are going to rejoice that Goredrinker just has less HP, but I think that the increase in 80 is definitely good. Okay, Trinity Force. Oh, there's an update to it. Okay, health 200 to 300, very nice to just randomly be added in. They're not changing gold cost or anything, so you're just getting an extra 100 gold for free. Really, really nice. Threefold Strike on champions or structures, 6% base AD per stack up to 5 times for 30% to 4% base AD per stack up to 5 times for... Why did they nerf Trinity Force? What? Why did you just take away 10%? Now, obviously, this hurts AD carry users or, like, non-high base AD Trinity Force users less than others. Obviously, I'm pointing at you, Ezreal. But that just seems really weird because that wasn't on the patch notes either. So that just feels really, 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 really bad. Also, what a joke. Infinity Force or an item mastery work only gives 100 HP. Holy moly. Legendary fighter item components. Our approach to fighter legendaries is similar. Shift health into 80 across select items. Okay. Death stands up by 200 gold. Wow. Stores 35%, 15% for melee range, post-mitigation, physical damage received, 30% for melee, 10% for range. All types of post-mitigation damage received. Okay, that's pretty good. Which is successfully taken as true damage over 3 seconds instead. Now also applies to damage on shields. Ooh, okay. That's really good. Heal for 15% maximum health upon scoring a kill or assess 175% bonus AD if a champion dies within 3 seconds after you've dealt damage to them. So this is really good for the AD champions that want to build Death Stance for particular reasons. Obviously, like Alawi immediately comes to mind. Graves have certain variations where he wants to do stuff like this. There's so many champions actually. 175% bonus AD of a champion. I wonder if this actually helps Tryndamere in a certain way. 175% bonus AD because he's a glass cannon, but he could build Death Stance and now just get turbo HP heals because of his bonus AD. Sounds like a really big Tryndamere buff as well, so and the all types of post mitigation. This is really good, I think. Sterak's Gage, attack damage 50 to 0. The Claws That Catch passive, gain 40% of your base AD as bonus AD. So obviously what they're trying to do is slow down the Trinity Force synergy with Sterak's Gage. After dealing damage to or taking a damage from an enemy champion, heal for a portion of your maximum health over 6 seconds. That's removed. Lifeline passive. Take damage that reduces you below 30% of your max health. Gain a shield that absorbs 100 plus 8% for melee, 4.8% for range of your max health per stack of Bloodlust, equal to 75% of your bonus health that decays over 3.75 seconds. Okay, so this is a buff to basically like less than 10 champions in the game, maybe. Gnar is one of them, Alawi is one of them, and what's the other one? Yorick or something? I think Yorick. I remember seeing a post or something like that. Basically, Sterak's just got hit if you're not in like the top 5 or like top 10 base AD users in the game. You're just dealing less damage, and also I think it's unlikely that the shield is going to be more valuable. So it feels kind of bad. It does just feel bad, especially that you lose out on the heal and stuff. So kind of sad. Maw of Malmortius. This one I'm excited for. They actually made the item pretty good now, I think. Attack damage is up by 5. Ability haste up by 5. Shield 200 plus 20% max health to 200 plus 225% for melee. 165, 8.75% for range. Bonus AD. So obviously on 80 carries that aren't building health, this number is likely going to be greater than the 20% maximum health, I would imagine. 168.75. Oh, maybe it's actually not on. This is weird. This is why you guys are gonna check out Freak's patch rundown for like select 80 carries. And the reason that I'm saying this is because there are some 80 carries that build shield bow, and obviously the shield bow passive ends up giving you HP. There's also 80 carries that do build some HP items just in general, and so maybe the 20% in those regards it is gonna feel a little bit worse. But don't forget you are getting 5 bonus AD here, and so I mean that is a break point. But obviously 80 carries also all have various max health ranges, so you gotta take a look at that as well. Updated lifeline passive is active. Gain 12% Omnivamp until the end of combat. Have not dealt trading damage for at least 3 seconds. Okay. Blade of the Rune King, up by 100 gold. Basic attacks now go up by 2% of the target's current health. Massive buff again to Ezreal. Ezreal just got 2 buffs this patch with Trinity Force and Blade of the Rune King. And obviously Aurelia, she was already full build at Vamp Scepter. She's even fuller build now. Aurelia is going to be a lot stronger with this change. So that's really nice. Black Cleaver, down by 100 HP, attack damage up by 5, ability haste up by 5. Again, you'll take it. Ravenous Hydra, 80 up by 5, we'll take it. Hearthbound Gold, combined cost, down by 100, really nice. Hex Drinker, attack damage up by 5, we'll take it, really nice. Turbo Chemtank, okay. Our changes to Turbo Chemtank in patch 12.2 were a band-aid to bring the item back in line on dashy champions like Akali and Aurelia. We looked for better solutions. We're further adjusted at stacking mechanics made Turbo Chemtank better suited for tanking rather than for turbocharging at enemies. Emphasis on the tank, not the turbo. Okay. Updated. Gain 5 stacks per instance of damage dealt against champions or large monsters, and 1 stack for every 15 units traveled to damage taken from champions and large monsters, and 1 stack for every 25 units traveled. Still capped at 10 stacks for dashes and blinks. Okay. Refuel bonus damage. 100 stacks, your next base stack deals magic damage to all nearby enemies, increased by 25% against minions, 100 increased by 30% against minions, and 200% against monsters. This is really good for Chemtank junglers. So obviously, like, Udyr is really good, Skarner is really good with stuff like this. Basically, any of the Chemtank junglers, I do agree. This is really nice to see it hitting away at champions like Akali and Aurelia and stuff like that. I don't really mind. So for Chemtank junglers, it's still going to be good, but obviously, even in some of those instances, they still build Sunfire, so that's pretty much it. Quality of life updates. We got a lot of upcoming skins, but you guys know I no longer get access to the skins with the way that I currently receive the Riot patch notes. So that is pretty much it. In terms of competitive, a lot of champions were just outright nerfed. Ahri is a pretty big one. Ahri is a really big one that we could actually... Ahri could maybe actually be seen in competitive, but again, I don't know where she's going to land inside of solo queue. But other than that, competitive just got smacked all across the board, and that's what we should expect. So every other patch. So 12.5, expect another competitively smacking patch. And 12.4, who knows? Maybe we get the new support champion, Renata or something that was leaked in TFT or whatever that is. But for now, we have to do with Ahri and then seeing exactly where Zeri lands. And so that is it for this patch rundown. And I hope that you guys enjoyed it. And get ready for Cloud9 this upcoming weekend. And don't forget, again, Download Mobalytics. Thank you. Bye.